Welcome to PAX. Well, you know what? PAX East has been going on for a little bit now, hasn't it? Who, me? It's a stair supposed to be loud. Do you need like little ear things for yourself, child? Jeez, some people. Anyway, hi, welcome. If you're watching us on PAX 2, twitch.tv/PAX 2, welcome. If you're here in the audience, welcome. Let's go, the hype or whatever.
Raise your hand if this is your first PAX East. Is this anybody's first PAX East?
Yeah, I see a lot of hands here.
Newbies.
Boy, it's been a while, hasn't it? We had 2 years of, digital PAX East, and then now we're finally back here over in the Boston Convention Center. It's been a long time coming, but it's good to be back. I hope everyone has a really good time. And now that the ASMR bit of this panel is over, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Zelda for about an hour. So I hope you're ready. Take notes, there's a quiz at the end. Actually, there really is a quiz.
There actually is kind of a quiz.
I was making a joke, but we actually do have some questions so that you can win some fabulous prizes. So I hope you're ready for that. I'm going to go ahead and start doing introductions. In case you are wondering who this idiot here has been talking to for the last minute and a half, I am Andrew. I also go by Laughing Boy LP on the internet. You know, branding, it's important, I think. You can also find me on Zelda Universe. I'm the YouTube director. I do a lot of stuff with Zelda Universe, including panels, Zeathon. It's a good time. Next, I'm going to go over to Amanda, who can probably speak more articulately than I can.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Van Heil, and I host Zelda News at Zelda Universe. And then I also just show up different places with Zelda Universe talking about Zelda. I'm the news editor, and I do the ZU-thons as well. Peyton.
Hello, everybody. My name is Peyton Garrett. I go by Emperor P on the internet, and I am ZU Special Events Coordinator. I primarily do ZU-thon and PAX. And I'm mostly here to represent people born after the year 2000, so.
That's what I thought.
If that made any of you feel old, I'm doing my job right.
Anyway, representing the 90s gang, my name is Mary Stowe. Yeah, 90s gang!
See, that's how you appeal to the crowd, Peyton.
Yeah. So my name is Mary Stowe. I am the social media director for Zelda Universe, so I am behind all the social media pages, making sure everything runs smoothly on our platforms.
Hi, I don't do things for Zelda-thon. Or is that, sorry, ZU. Sorry,
Wait, no, that is the thing you do.
I ran here. I got here 1 minute before this started. But I'm a composer. I do video game music stuff. I did covers for like 8.5 years. But I've done a lot of Zelda music. So yeah, I teach and I do music things.
What's your name?
Sab. Did I forget to say my name? I'm so sorry.
First slide down. All right. We're already off to a great start.
I will be representing those born in the 80s, because I'm old. Older than Zelda by 2 weeks to the dot. All right, so we are talking about the characters in the Legend of Zelda series. So I have a background in theater and performance and all that, so if there's anything I know how to do, it's analyze a character. So we're gonna be looking at Link and why he does the different things, and I just love this meme of, I did it to save my friends. I did it to save my sister. I did it to save the girl I love. I did it because a tree told me to. And poor Breath of the Wild Link, he just woke up naked and got told he needed to do something, didn't even have his coffee yet, and he's already having to run around saving the world.
The millennial experience.
What's that like?
So when analyzing a character, you want to look at who he is. So who is Link? Well, we find that out by finding out what is his goal and why is that his goal. How do the other characters help him achieve what he needs? How does Link help the other characters? What is his relationship with the others? And what is at stake for him? So, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about a lot of Zelda games and a lot of characters, and we might end up revealing something you may not know. You've been warned. So we're going to start it off with the very beginning, the original Legend of Zelda that came out on February 21st, 1986. And this is where we first learned that it is dangerous to go alone. Take this, when the old man gave him his sword. So in this game, he basically gets a back. It's something so funny you'd like to share with the rest of the class.
Nope, I'm good. Keep going.
All right. Well, we get a crash course, basically, of what's going on between Link and Zelda and Ganon. Oh gosh, that's a new shipping, Xanon, lordy. All right, well.
That's not for another 20 years. We'll get there.
Zelda and Ganon from Impa. That's how he finds out what's going on. So what inspires him to go on this journey? And that is his own personal sense of justice. The area is completely just barren. It's crawling around with monsters. There's very few humanoid characters, and the ones that are there are more hidden away. So you don't really get to know them very much. You just know you're exploring this world, and you just kind of have to make it all up along the way as to why things are happening and who people are. But you don't really have that strong of a relationship with Zelda. It's just a fun exploration game. And as the games go along, we start to meet more characters. So Zelda 2 comes along with the adventure of Link. It is very different from previous games. It is the same Link, but it's a different Zelda. Once again, Impa is here to instruct Link on what to do. Now this has expanded. This is the big difference here is aside from like the weird like side-scroller style to whatever that was, it's expanded to include towns. There's more NPCs. There's I Am Error, which we all know. There's the old lady, the lady who heals Link in mysterious ways.
And only that.
And what, I'm sorry?
And only that.
And only that, I said he healed. She's a healer. That's all there is to it. But we start to get to know these people and kind of giving you as a player a reason to want to do more in the game to succeed because you've got your own personal, you're becoming personally invested in it. Now, Link to the Past is where a lot of you guys got started, I believe. How many of you here, we've all played Link to the Past here?
Unfortunately.
No.
You haven't played it?
I played A Link Between Worlds, though, so I played, like,
Okay,
the modern
so it's close
version.
enough.
Yeah.
The skills
Good
transfer.
enough.
The skills
It's
transfer.
the same concept. And y'all feel free to pop in while I'm talking. I don't mean to take it over.
90s kids, yay!
Do you want me to say that this game is vastly inferior to all the other future games?
no.
Okay, only if
Not
you
for
want
this
to
panel,
get-
we're not.
Only if you want to get busted in the face. So this is the first turning point in the series, and that is because this is when Zelda comes directly to Link in a dream, and he lives with his uncle. So rather than just going through his own sense of justice, like this is the right thing to do, he's told by his uncle to go save the princess. So he has all of a sudden a familial bond with the princess, even though he may not know her personally. She's important to a family member of him. So that drives the stakes much higher. If he doesn't find her, it's not going to just disappoint the world. It's going to disappoint the people close to him. And that makes it more important for him. That's where it becomes more, it keeps slipping, I'm so sorry. Keeps just becoming more emotionally invested. We get a greater variety of characters. This is where we get the Zora, we got the Lumberjacks, we've got that Dwarven Swordsmith, and you start to help out other characters. So you start to get to know anybody. Does anybody have a favorite character up here from Link to the Past? Any of you guys?
Link.
Link.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Always a good
yeah.
answer.
I always forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Well, you always, you have Saraswala, so like you have characters that are more directly leading the player along. I think that's like a big deal in terms of that narrative storytelling where in earlier games, especially in NES games, a lot of the story was written in the manual, right? So there wasn't a lot to go on until maybe the early 90s when people started like getting more expressive with NES tech. But then you start seeing more obtuse games like Link to the Past where it's now able to lead the player along by using NPCs as a way to tell story. And that becomes way more important later on considering that you are still a voiceless character.
So that gets taken a step further in Link's Awakening. Now I'm doing the Switch version because it's prettier. That's the only reason I picked it.
Big.
So this one, Link starts to really get to know characters. That's where we first meet Marin, who is just adorable. Who loves Marin? I love Marin. Anybody else love Marin? I adore her. So Marin saves Link after a shipwreck. So she goes all Little Mermaid on him, and all of a sudden he's got to help her. Then we've got, she confesses her hopes and dreams to Link. So Link starts getting to know somebody on a one-on-one basis who is close to his age. So this time it's not even an instruction from like an authority figure. This is somebody that this is a peer, so Link is starting to get to know others. Then there's the owl, who provides guidance throughout, so he may not have his own personal traveling companion, but he does have the owl here who goes along and tells him things, and then we learn, spoiler, that he's part of the Windfish. And there's a whole bunch of the characters. There's Madam Meow Meow, I love her, Bow Wow, and Yip Yip, Crazy Tracy. I'm telling you, the ghost, I got very attached to that ghost. It made me tear up on that quest.
He's very attached to you.
And that is one of the big things that's different about Link's Awakening is you really start to get to know the characters. You really want
It's a
them to
very
do well.
quirky cast too, so I
Yeah.
think that's really nice from like the very serious nature of the earlier Zelda games that Amanda's talked about versus this is very quirky, even in the original, just like their distinct personalities and just building the relationships.
Well, and I think again, like earlier, as the NPCs are used to lead Link from point A to B, this is, I think, probably one of the earliest moments where characters are just there to exist, and they get to, like you were talking about with Marion, like they share their hopes and dreams. You find out these very strange things about these characters through side questing, and you're actually like, they're not just there to be video game people, it's much more alive, which is very ironic given the nature of the island. So these are very lively characters for the first time in a Zelda series that I think gets more elaborated on in Majora's Mask.
And the actions that you take with these characters have actual consequences with the whatever he's called, the shopkeeper being the thief.
Yep.
Did anybody steal the shovel? Who all stole the shovel? Me.
No.
Really? I'm the only delinquent here?
Yep.
I saved up all my money.
Well, I'm a delinquent, and I went in and kept stealing stuff because that was more fun.
Cut grass.
Says a lot about the panelists here, doesn't it?
Spoiler, Amanda's a delinquent.
Yeah.
So we're going to come into the first trivia question. Dan, where are you, babe? There you are. Okay, so we've got my dear husband, Dan Van Heil. He's here with the prizes. Why don't you show us the first prize that we are going with? That's the Skyward Sword poster. Skyward Sword poster, is that it?
No.
All right, I'll just do it this way. Hello.
Flip it around. Yes. So the question for all of you, and Dan, you're just going to run to the first person you see who has their hand up, going to have them answer the question in the mic, and then if they win, then they get the prize. So the
Yay.
question is,
Oh, it's working now.
in Link's Awakening, where can you find the Yoshi doll? Hand in
Okay.
the very center, far back, babe.
Yep, light blue shirt.
Yep.
Hey,
You can find it in the claw crane game, correct?
That is correct. I will take claw machine, crane machine, trendy game. It's
oh,
all the
I
same.
was gonna have you walk up and hand you the poster up there, but I carried it with me, so.
Saves a
you
lot of
go.
time.
That's true. Good job! Yay! First try. So now we are moving on to the Nintendo 64 era. The time that revolutionized gaming. Woo! Was this anybody's first Zelda? Ocarina of Time, anybody's first Zelda? It was my first Zelda.
Played it on the GameCube.
Nice.
Link to the Past. Link to the Past was a lot. This was my first. I remember reading about it in Nintendo Power, and I got in trouble at school for reading my Ocarina. Again, I'm a delinquent, so I just read my Ocarina of Time books instead of like Little Women because that was way better. Which is funny because there's a Little Women reference in Ocarina of Time. With the pose. With the pose. They're named after the girls of Little Women.
Okay.
I know what that is.
It's a book, Peyton.
He's completely lost in time. He doesn't read books,
Just
but he
let-
also doesn't know how to use Uber.
Just let me know when we get to Wind Waker.
All right, well, aside from revolutionizing gaming, this was the next big turning point because this brought us Navi.
Yeah.
We love Navi.
Yeah.
She just wants to help.
She really just wants to help. She is a very sweet fairy. She may be irritating, but you know what? That's okay. I
She
can
gets
be
the
irritating,
job
but I want to be
done,
helpful.
you know?
She does.
She gets the job done.
She understood
She
the
does.
assignment.
I think the only thing that really bugs me about Navi, like first time playing through, her tips are helpful, but genuinely, other than the great decorator being like, yeah, go ahead, go with him, she has no narrative real purpose.
She assists with the Z targeting, and she helps out at the very end, so she's very
So
important.
true.
Yeah, that's the only.
Why? Why does she have that ability? Why is that?
Because it's the first 3D.
Oh my gosh, Peyton.
Deal with this child.
You know when we get to L targeting.
But here's what made
Anyway.
it different is Link finally had a companion. He was no longer alone because we all know it's dangerous to go alone. Take a fairy, why not? Because he was the boy without a fairy. And we also learn more about Link in this game because he's bullied by Mido. So then we find out he's kind of a little bit of an outcast. He's a little nerd boy that lives in the village that everybody's just like, oh, he's that weird kid. But he is best friends with Saria, who is a sage, and she's kind of the best one. So,
Yup.
you know, good for her. Now, did you get all that? Get all that? No? Okay, well, we'll just keep going. What? So this is where we also meet EPONA, because not only does he have a fairy to travel with him, he also has a horse. So he's got lots of friends now. What were you going to say?
Did you say Epona?
I said EPONA, and I got tongue-tied and said EPONA. I get tongue-tied sometimes, Peyton.
You're not coming back to the next PAX East.
I have a funny story about EPONA, actually. So, little me did not know I was playing Ocarina of Time. I saw my older cousin playing it, and they had a horse. And I, being a child, was like, it's a horse game. I have to play this.
Oh my God.
So, they would just hand me the controller and let me ride the horse around the ranch.
Oh.
I never left the ranch.
Ingo didn't want you to leave either, so.
Part of it is because I couldn't. And then you found the spiders.
But the unique thing with Ocarina of Time, sorry to change the subject there because we're running out of time. The unique thing about Ocarina is not only do you meet Malin as a child who teaches you a song, which is necessary for the game, you see the character grow when you come back 7 years later. And so then all of a sudden, like, here's this person you knew as a child, here she is as an adult. Or, you know, whatever you want to consider adult. 17 is child, but that's beside
You know what? He's legally allowed to ride a horse.
That's true. If Pokemon trainers can go out on their own at 10, I consider that going around saving the world at 17 an adult. That's fine. So not only does he grow, his friends grow too. He also gets to know the princess. And the princess directly helps him. Spoiler, Zelda and Sheik are the same person.
Unfortunately, Emperor P did not understand that plot thread, and that's why he doesn't really like Ocarina of Time so much.
But she is there throughout to guide him on his way from the very beginning of giving him the first assignment with the letter saying, hey, I need your help. But again, he's not going it alone. He has all of these people watching over him. Even if he doesn't know it, he's got these that are going around doing what they have to do. And then there's, Peyton, what is so funny?
It was, you said something funny. I
Okay.
laughed.
Okay. That's fine.
Not everything's a snip at you.
No, it wasn't a snip. I thought you had something funny to like say that everybody would enjoy. I apologize.
So the sages.
So the stages. Ocarina of Time.
There's 7 of them.
Yep, here they are. We all get to know them, and you have different interactions with them. You've got, what's up?
6. There's 6 of them. I counted.
You know, you've got Ruto, who, good for her, she knows what she wants. She tells Link to carry her around, and he does it. Good for Ruto. And then meets her again later.
Hey, that's his
Engaged. Engaged. We've got the Gerudo.
It's not on paper yet.
We've got the Goron. We've got some really great characters here, and it's just starting to get really fleshed out. Now, I'm not going over Majora's Mask because that whole entire panel is a character study, or that game is an entire character study.
Kind of.
Yep.
And so that would take up a whole panel. So
I
we're
will
just
say
skipping
before
that
we
one.
move on to Wind Waker, I feel like this is like the first game where all of a sudden like most of the female characters are like strangely thirsty for you. What? It's weird, right?
It
You're
is,
nodding
yeah.
your head because you know. But like all the characters are just kind of like, I mean, you're kind of cute. Whatever. Thank you for saving me.
No, Ocarina.
In Ocarina.
Oh.
Ocarina, yeah. like-
Before we move on to Wind Waker, Peyton.
Yeah, not
Thanks for paying
everything's about
attention.
Wind Waker.
Link has a harem, essentially, in Ocarina.
I can't deal with him
game did I
sometimes.
play?
I can't. Wind Waker. Let's talk about that.
Oh, Wind Waker.
All right.
Played a knockoff.
It's for the GameCube.
So once again, Link had a personal reason to go on his journey. This time, it involved his sister, his sweet little sister Ariel, kidnapped by the Helmerot King. He wasn't even planning on saving the world. He just wanted to help his sister. And next thing you know, he's riding around on the King of Red Lions, having to leave his poor granny behind.
No.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was
That was, oh,
hard to do.
that one. Who teared up at Granny, like being depressed? I can't handle that. Like I have to get her that fairy immediately because I don't like making my grandma sad. We also have the King of Red Lions, who is a father figure to Link instead of just a companion who just yells tips in his ear. This is somebody who constantly provides guidance. So instead of the people that are providing guidance around that he may not know about, he's right here giving you help the whole time. He's wise, helps him reach his personal goal, and he's a chauffeur. Can't go wrong there.
And I think this is a very big step up because you did just go through like 2 games on the N64 where your companion is a fairy, which is mostly meant to help you navigate through a 3D space, as this is like an early days of 3D gaming. But now you're kind of having companions that are maybe not fleshed out because he's wood, but fleshed
Carved
out
out.
figuratively speaking.
Hey.
Pretty good.
He becomes flesh at some point, I guess. I don't know.
To extend on that a little bit, I think what I really like about the King of Red Lions is that he felt more interactive with the world. You saw him interacting with the spirits, with the mermen, with other NPCs. Like every time like you interacted with him, he had this little bit of information. He knew people. Like he knew the right steps to take in order to get Link farther along on his journey.
Damn, thank you for joining us, Peyton.
That was great.
He's trying his
We're in
best.
2003.
He's
We're in
just doing his
2003.
best, just like Navi.
True.
All right, so next we are going to go to the princess herself, Zelda / Tetra. Rescuing Tetra leads to Errol's kidnapping, helps Link by allowing him to use the pirate ship, protects Errol, helps Link defeat Ganondorf as Zelda. She is a less refined Zelda than the ones we've seen before. She's, a little rough around the edges, because good for her, she's a pirate, she's out in the sun. She keeps her guard up, so her softness and vulnerability don't come out until she is the princess. She's also very independent. She worked with Link to fight, got to use the light arrows with the mirror shield, but neither she nor Link knew of their true identity. So none of this quest had anything to do with, I am the hero of time, I'm the princess, I've got the wisdom, Goddess Hylia. This was just them, just being regular kids, essentially.
It's like a cool 90s movie with like the kids going on an adventure, and it's like way bigger than they were supposed to be. So.
Yep.
So Goonies.
Goonies
Goonies
too.
kind of, yeah. Very similar to it, actually.
Yeah.
It's also different
find gold,
compared
that's
to, we just looked at Ocarina of Time where, it's very clearly, Zelda and Sheik being that connection where Zelda knows that identity versus Tetra and Zelda, you don't know that. And it still steps place where Ocarina of Time, they're just kids to start. So to see the contrast between the very I am the hero of time, I know that even as a child versus they're just exploring and they're like, oh, we're not just on a pirate ship. There's stuff happening here. So it's very cool to see that with the same kind of environment, how they were able to twist it to make a totally different story.
So it's very much the world's gonna end, but how is this gonna affect me here?
Yeah.
And of course, Grandma. Another I know I mentioned her earlier, but she raises Link, and you get to see her the whole time. So you have Link's caretaker. Provides Link with what he needs for his journey. Link helps cure her depression with a fairy. So, they've got a mutual respect for one another. They help each other. She is a wonderful character. Who doesn't love Granny? And that music, it's just beautiful. Yes. And then finally, Ganondorf.
Probably one of the best Ganondorfs.
Yeah, of all the Ganondorf iterations, this one is the most humanized. You kind of, you almost empathize with Ganon, because he's just sitting there minding his own business, and then all of a sudden he's got to come out and deal with all this stuff with Link getting in his way. He was just enjoying the comfortable lifestyle for the Gerudo.
I'm gonna give my hot take here. I think this Ganondorf was right. I think he was in the right. He didn't even want to kill Zelda and Link until the King of It was the King of Hyrule's fault, actually, that even final battle happened.
That's a very good webcomic, actually, about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, genuinely, like, he just knocked Zelda out and Link out. He wasn't even gonna kill them until his chances of a new old Hyrule was gone. And I think that really just humanizes him as a person, that his goal isn't just to destroy and kill, it's just to recover his homeland.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go into our next trivia question. In the Wind Waker on the GameCube, the Game Boy Advance is compatible using what in-game item?
I think I saw this man's go up.
Oh, did you show the prize?
I did not show the prize. Would you like to see the prize before you answer? Okay.
Mystery prize.
It'll be a mystery prize for you. Okay.
It's the Tingle Tuner.
Very good. Yay,
Yay!
Tingle Tuner.
Oh, I did it wrong last time. Come on up.
Come on up and collect your prize.
And what do we have for him?
Who here used
It's
the
a
Tingle
mystery to
Tuner?
everyone.
Anybody? Did anybody actually use the Tingle Tuner? I don't think I ever actually did it.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. It's a Link. Well, it's a Wind Waker Link.
No, unfortunately, I never got to use, because you had to buy the Game Boy Advance cable.
Okay, that's fine.
And here's the bag it came in.
All right.
This bag is not a toy.
No, but it's good for collecting cat litter. That's what I use them for. All right. So now we are going to the GameCube/Wii era.
Let's go! Sorry about that.
You good?
Anyways,
So
I do
we have
enjoy
a few
wrangling
Twilight
sheep.
Princess fans here. Just a few.
a couple.
So Peyton, I understand you like Twilight Princess.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Is there something you'd like to share with the class?
So once again, Link has a companion, but she's a little different than the past few.
Love her.
She's Nate.
You know, the last two were pretty supportive, and they were all about Link doing his best. Twilight Princess is really Midna's story. Link is really the companion here. Midna's the one that she just needs Link to carry her around. She has her own character arc. The other ones, we really didn't get to see that. We got to see Navi show a little bit of bravery at the very end, and then we found out like more about the King of Red Lions, but not like a full like growth. Because at first, Midna's just like, you'll do. I need you to do this for me. And then you started to get to know her. She started to get to know Link. They started to actually care about each other. They needed one another. And so Link's relationship changed once again with this companion. And then he was also a little farm boy. There's the kids of the village. There's the one character we don't like. And then there's the...
I mean, realistically, there's like 4 in there I don't
Amanda,
like.
people don't know.
The character that Amanda doesn't like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that Amanda
fair.
doesn't like.
There's lore there.
Yeah, there's the character that I really can't stand, and then the other 4 kids.
Let's go Malamort!
You know, Colin really looks up to Link, so Link is not only just the little farm boy, he is a role model to some, but then he has also those that he can look up to, like the mayor in town, and then there's that girl with the short hair on the left that we don't like, that she seems to further the plot at the beginning, and then doesn't, and then loses her memory,
May I introduce a fun fact?
Sure.
So in the game, you don't actually have to recover Ilya's memory.
Yeah.
Like, you can start the quest, but as soon as you get to the hidden village, you don't actually have to complete the quest finishing Ilya's memory if you know to just show Impaz the Dominion Rod. So you can just leave her permanently amnesiac
That's
the rest of the
horrible.
game.
That's so bad.
And for the
Which
record,
one's worse, stealing the shovel or whatever he just said?
Yeah.
I speedrun the game.
And for the record, for those of you that love Ilya, good for you. I'm glad you have somebody you like. I just dislike her for personal petty reasons. So let's go on. Now, Peyton, wait, you had some stuff you wanted to talk about with Twilight Princess, didn't you, with the Resistance?
Yeah, so I think one of the I think one of the most underrated parts of the game is really the Resistance, and it's further expanded upon in the manga, which if you haven't read the Twilight Princess manga, it's fantastic. It really adds a lot of characterization to everyone that isn't there in sometimes the game. But the Resistance that Telma forms with Shad and Ashi and Russell and Aru, it's really interesting. You only see them for these small moments throughout the game, but you really get the sense that they care about Hyrule and they really want to uncover both the mysteries and stop Ganondorf. And my favorite cutscene in the entire game, and it's unskippable, which is brilliant, is in Ganondorf's, in the final Hyrule Castle, you're going to get the boss key, and you see this basically horde of monsters coming at Link. The Bokoblins are shooting down arrows, and it just feels like it's probably a possible battle. Link's basically unstoppable. But then you see the Resistance come in and just completely annihilate the enemies. And it's this just really nice moment seeing them come together to actually help you in your final quest against Ganon at the end of the game.
I would honestly love to see just a spin-off game of the Resistance because there's so much lore there that we don't know, especially if you haven't read the manga, because I've only like kind of I've looked through the manga at some of the pictures that are really cool. That's about it. But just to know more about it, I would love to know that backstory. I think that would be really interesting just to see like how they got to where they are and more about the Resistance and what was going on like before Link got involved, just to see everything that was happening.
At the very least with Russell, I think it's interesting because at the beginning of the game, Link looks up to Russell. Russell is almost like a father figure to him. It's someone who Link counts on and supports, and Russell treats Link with respect and almost like a father. And to see them become like almost equals at the end of the game, it's really interesting.
And I do like how Link has, you know, the father figure, and he also has like the little brother figure. So he has different roles that he himself plays. All right, so now we'll move on to Skyward Sword.
Yay!
All right. So this one, at this point in the series, Link is more or less a little high schooler. He struggles just like regular 17-year-olds, has a hard time getting out of bed, has to deal with bullies, has the friend that may or may be more, we don't know. She stands up for Link, though. We get to know Zelda as a character instead of just the refined Twilight Princess stoic character that she was, or Wind Waker, where Zelda didn't know she was Zelda. She knows who she is and gives Link a personal reason to be the hero. This isn't just some princess that he was told to go save. This is his best friend for life, who, you know, he may or may not have a thing for. And her dad is counting on him. But at the same time, he has a rival that's not just the real big bad. We've got the one and only Groose! Yeah! The one with the best hair in the series, Link's rival.
We love Groose.
But what's so
love Groose.
wonderful about him is he has that great redemption arc.
I mean, the thing for me, especially with Skyward Sword, and why I like Skyward Sword a lot is because it does a lot of things where one of my main drawbacks with Twilight Princess is that there's so much that they try to accomplish with characterization, but then there's so much missing. But with Skyward Sword, there really is a lot of fleshing out, and characters, not just Groose. Groose is just the most obvious because he's, you know, the bully character. But a lot of these characters are not the same from when they started. And if you go out and do a lot of the side questing, and I think this is just them learning from Majora's Mask and other past games as well, is that they took a lot of that past experience and molded it into a game that really focuses on the emotional aspects of the characters rather than just gameplay and game. There's issues there, but the thing is that I feel like this one really focused on characterization and letting characters tell a story and not just immediately drag the player from point A to B in a most obvious fashion. Like everyone has their own thing, everyone has their own story, and it's all leading the player along to the end point.
I think Fledge is a great example of that.
Oh, yeah, Fletcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude gets like a six-pack.
1,000 push-ups in a night.
Yeah.
And Link helps him on his way. Just as like, basically just like, here's some stamina potion. This might help you out. And good for you, kid.
I mean, a lot of the side questions can be tedious, but it does, like, for me, who really enjoys, character growth and just reading it as a story, I get that reward of like seeing what Link is helping them along with. So again, like with Fledge, he becomes like a stronger, both physically and emotionally. You have the gratitude demon, you have all these different people that are in town. I mean, just the shopkeeper's story arc for itself and her dad is just like, it's great. Like you get to see all these things happen, and it permanently changes how you interact with those characters after the side quest is done. It's a good game.
It really is, and it's personally rewarding. It's like, yeah, gratitude crystal, sure, whatever, 100%ing the game, but it's again, you want to do it because you are emotionally invested with the characters.
Well, and it's the first time where a lot of the NPCs, including Impa, aren't just like sitting here going like, you're the hero, you're like the coolest guy ever, you're gonna save everybody, and Impa's just like, you were 20 minutes late, what the hell, dude? You gotta get better. So I feel like in Link's standpoint, it becomes even more emotional because not only is he failing his friends, but he's also failing this ideal of what everyone is telling him to be. No one's calling him like the hero of anything. There is no thing where everyone's just like, well, you're the hero, but thou must. Like, you just have to do it. Like you were saying before, it's emotional. My friend is gone. Her dad is like, you have to go, like, please. Like, do something.
Although, can we just point out how he just sits and takes a bath the entire time while Link is down there?
Only at nights.
Please, Link, I can't. I can't.
My back pain.
Oh, the pain.
Like,
Can
hey,
you warm up the water, please?
My daughter just got whisked away in a tornado. Link, go do something about it.
My
I'm gonna
back
go take a
hurts from
bath.
carrying up my massive unibrow.
Yeah, but then just the idea that you have characters that are just kind of like not treating you the same way as in past Zelda games is just fantastic to me.
And he's, once again, just treated like a regular kid.
Yeah. Kind of like in Minish Cap as well, I think. So.
Now, once again, we have another companion. Now, this is very different from Midna, very different from Navi, very different from the King of Red Lion. She's very cold, but she also gets a character arc at the very end. And I don't know about you guys, but I felt really bad for being really annoyed by her the whole time when she said that when she finally experienced emotion for the first time, thanks to Link, and this was just thanks to Link just being himself.
Yeah.
And just being just an overall just good guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's that companion that I didn't realize was growing on me until the end of the game, and it was like, the final farewell, and then the music like set the tone. It was so beautiful, and it was like, oh no, like I'm really gonna miss this character. Like, what do you mean this is goodbye? Like, I didn't realize how attached I'd gotten to having her along for the journey until that moment. I was like, oh, it's ending. This is the end of the game.
And this is getting a little far ahead. I think that goodbye made what happens in the next game that was released even more emotional when you get those like little hints about Fi's eventual future. Is it Fi or Fi?
Honestly, I think it can go either way.
It's 5.
I think it's technically Fi, but I always called it Fi at first until I was told that it was Fi, but that kind of got stuck in my head.
You do you.
Arceus, Arceus, that sort of thing.
Rayquaza.
No.
Just no.
Ouch!
You can't hide the truth forever. Just accept it and move on.
I like Mary's point. Like, sorry, I'm the musician, so I'm gonna mention the music because that's just what I do. But with like Fi's theme versus like Groos's theme, I feel like this is one of the first games where we're getting to see very fleshed out themes for the characters aside from Link, because so much of the Zelda music is about the areas you're going to or the songs that you're playing. And I feel like the character themes really represent these distinct personalities where like Fi's is like this beautiful ethereal piano tune, and like, getting to experience emotion, like her theme is so emotional, and then I think like the driving point of like the very end really helps, so you're like, oh my God. Versus like Groos's, it's this very like kind of like pompous kind of thing, and you got like the trombone, which makes it a little like dopey and silly with blah, 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 blah. So I just feel like it's a very good encapsulation of like making these characters more detailed in the story. The music does a good job of serving that to give them these personalities to contrast Link.
I agree, and to even extend a little further, I'd say even the themes of the 4 different goddesses also have that. And these are characters that we have, other than the Oracles, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons games, we have almost zero context for who these people were as goddesses, but all of their themes feel very fitting for what little we do know about them as humans, or at least semi-mortals.
And it did a good job at, like, if you had not played the Oracle games, kind of get a feel for who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we've gushed on Skyward Sword enough, although I think we could keep gushing on the
Yeah,
characters.
I was like, I could do a whole panel on
you know.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good game.
it did, you know, say what you will about the motion controls, it did the story and characters just, like, spot on. I think that's what they were going for previous games, and they finally, they nailed it. They
Hey.
absolutely nailed it.
But we got buttons now.
That's true.
Yep.
Get the Switch version.
Yeah.
All right. And here we are today.
And now the game with no story.
Breath of the Wild. Now, this one goes back to its roots in multiple ways. First of all, it's all about the exploration. But once again, Link no longer has a companion. He meets other characters on his way, but he doesn't have anybody just like helping him through. He's got the old man king at the very beginning
I
telling
have
him,
my iPad. I don't need anything else.
I don't need friends, Mom.
"You don't need friends."
They're all online. Jeez. I'm on Twitch. Leave me alone.
They're real, I promise.
I may pay them a lot in bits and then they talk to me. That's the only time. But, you know, it's whatever. You know, they'll eventually will build a rapport.
They said my name.
Poor Link.
I know. You can't help it.
The
Like,
true millennial experience, Breath of the Wild.
what's really neat about Breath of the Wild is not only do you go back to being alone, the characters know who Link is, but you're having to learn who Link is also, and Link is having to discover himself based on the memories that other characters had of him. So he's like, he doesn't really have the actual relationship that he knows of with the characters. The others already know him. So, like, you know, you find out from the champions and from the champions' descendants, like, they're like, oh, you're Link, I know who you are. And you're just slowly like, oh, okay. And so everybody's telling you about yourself.
Well, I think, like, the big thing about almost every character, almost every main character in the plot, is that they are trying to fill in somebody's shoes. Link is trying to fill the shoes of who people think he is. Zelda's trying to fill the shoes of who her father wants her to be, but then all the champions are trying to fulfill the, fill in the shoes of the shadows of the champions from 100 years ago. And so everybody has some kind of like personal stake in what's going on because they're all trying to be the person that they're shown to be, or like who their ancestors kind of led them to be. And by the actions that you take in the game and clearing through the story, they're able to do that.
And so, quick show of hands, we're going to see everybody's favorite champion. Whose favorite champion is Mifa?
Okay.
All right, whose favorite champion is Lady Urbosa? Yeah!
Pretty good.
Who likes Daruk?
Yes, sir.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Ready to roll. And Falco,
Bert Bruce.
Yeah.
Ravioli,
ravioli.
What's in the formioli?
So we're going to look at these champions themselves and how they knew Link and how they knew Zelda and, their own personalities. So we'll start with our favorite bird boy. We've got Mr. Cocky Rito here who, he doesn't quite have the same redemption that Groose has because he's dead.
So Bruce was better.
What? Only in one universe.
But
Rest in
it's
pepperoni.
really interesting to read, like, Rivali's diary, where he's talking about, like, the villagers want me to do this task for them, but it's kind of below me, so I don't really want to do that. And on one hand, you're like, dude, just do it. But at the same time, you realize he understands his own self-worth,
and realizes that if he keeps doing everything for everybody all the time just because he is the best, then nobody's going to do anything in that town, and he's just going to be stuck doing it. So he's like, no, save the hard stuff for me. And even then, I'm going to say, I don't really want to do this because I'm too good for it. And then he's going to go ahead and do it anyways and may pull through, or, you know, when it has to do that with that divine beast.
I think the real thing that separates both Rivali and Teba from the other 6 champions except champion descendants is that he's just a guy. Like, he's not royalty, he's no chief. They're literally just people that just happen to be Rito. Like, all the others are royalty or descendants of royalty in some kind, but not Rivali and Teba.
And the thing with Rivali is, yeah, he's very jealous of Link because Rivali has worked so hard all this time. And here's just this weird little, like, nerdy boy who's not, like, all buffed up. He doesn't really have any special powers. He didn't create Rivali's Gale to fly up like the others can't. He's just Zelda's little caretaker. What makes this guy so good? And, you know, Rivali wants him to prove himself. Is Rivali overly arrogant? Absolutely. Does he have reason to be? Also, yes. I think he does. You know, I think he's earned it. And, you know, I don't blame him for being like that.
Yeah, it's like you kind of see like his point of view. It's like maybe like tone it down a little bit every now and then, my guy. But he's put in so much work to like get to that skill level. And yeah, like you said, like he sees Link, he sees other people who people are like praising and like saying how strong they are, and he's like, well, you haven't proved you're strong. Like you have to like show your worth to me, sort of thing.
Right. It's like, hey, look at this wonderful strong guy. And it's like, okay, and they have me just doing menial tasks all the time, and they don't realize how good I am. You know, I think we could all take a lesson from Rivali of learning our own self-worth, of being like, no, I'm not going to do this for free. All right. So good for him.
You don't get anything out of this panel, get that at least.
Yeah.
Don't work for exposure. What am I doing?
So now we've got Daruk protection and Yunobo. That scene was so sweet when he finally saw the ghost of Daruk. Oh my goodness, it was so precious.
I think he's the only one that winds up being able to kind of do that.
Yeah, I think so.
The Sidon gets a moment, I thought, with Mifa.
I just know she's over, you know, she's just watching over.
She's just watching.
Yeah.
So Daruk is another one who's like, you know, he's very strong, and then you find out he's terrified of sweet little doggies. So that's his weakness. And then, you know, you've got Yunobo, who's he's a little shy, he's a little dorky, but he wants to be good, and he wants to be strong like Daruk. But how do you compare to Daruk, of all people?
I've always seen Daruk as kind of the leader of the champions. They don't really characterize that too well, but I think they do it a lot better in Age of Calamity. He always felt like kind of the ringleader, like he's always the one calling the rest of them to action and get to their stations and do what they need to do. At least that's my opinion. But
I mean, it's even alluded to like it's technically like the first memory in the order where they're doing like the ceremony, and he like makes a comment about how he's like, this is uplifting, and Rivali's like, it was your idea to do this. Like, Daruk was kind of the one rallying everyone to really adopt the mentality of like the ancestors and following through with everything. They're like, well, this is what they did, so we have to do it.
I think he's also probably the most positive force of the four, so kind of lends to that.
Yeah, it's like you feel comfortable around Daruk. Like he's not gonna make you like feel
He's very
inferior.
extroverted.
Yeah,
he's your buddy.
He's very welcoming.
He's a giant teddy bear, only he's less
Made out of rocks.
Made of-
Yeah. It's like, you know, when you go to Build-A-Bear and you stuff it way too hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Gives a
Daruk.
mean hug
Yeah.
to your spine.
So now we're gonna look at Lady Urbosa. She's my favorite. I love her so much. She was kind of a mother figure to Zelda, because I mean, Zelda's mom wasn't there anymore, and so she was Zelda's mentor. And we'll get into Zelda in just a moment, but you know, Urbosa knew how strong she was. She wasn't as cocky as Rivali, but she wasn't gonna take crap from anybody either. So good for her. Like, I love everything about her, and I just love her fury and how she just gets out there and she just like fights with the sword. She doesn't like, it's like her fighting seems to be the most raw of all of it, I feel like.
I really like Riju and how you read Riju's diaries, and she struggles a lot with living up to not only her mother, but how Lady Urbosa is. As, you know, being the chief of the Garuda at such a young age, I'd be terrified to have to follow up Urbosa.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah.
I think that's something that all of like the champions struggle with too, is like they have these expectations put on them from their predecessors of like, you have some very, very big shoes to fill, so you better do it, and you better do it soon, sort of thing.
And then we've got Mifa, who's got the love triangle going on, and she's so sweet. She loves Link, and she's always there for him, no matter what. And then the sweet, wonderful Prince Sidon as the baby brother. Who doesn't love little baby Sidon? He's so
love him.
precious. Oh my goodness. But what's great about the Descendants is they're all, and the Champions, is every single character is flawed somehow. None of them are perfect. And, you know, previously, like with previous games, you know, they all seem just so hard and perfect. These you really, what?
One note.
Yeah, they're very one note. These are very dynamic characters, and you understand like you find out their struggles, what they're scared of, what their personal struggles are of not being able to live up to the expectations of the Descendants, scared they can't live up to the predecessors' expectations. The Champions, I mean, they literally fight to the death. And so they all have different relationships with Link. You know, you've got Sidon who just encourages and encourages and encourages. You know, Link has to encourage Teba. So like the dynamic shifts there. So
Are we
it's
allowed
just,
to talk about Age of Calamity?
yes, of course.
Cool. So spoilers for Age of Calamity. I think one of the best parts of that is when you actually get to see the Descendants directly interact with the champions and how that nervousness is there. They're like, for example, Yunobo and Daruk. Yunobo is literally meeting Daruk, he's got his own giant statue in Goron Village in Yunobo's time. And like, it's really empowering to see like Daruk inspire Yunobo to like have that confidence. And same with, you know, Mifa and Sidon, seeing their sibling relationship that you don't get to see in the main game. It adds just a lot of characterization, not only to themselves, but to the Link and Zelda like relationship between all of them. It's great.
And they've all had just so much taken away from them that was unfairly taken away from them.
Yeah.
Like all these experiences and relationships they should have had, they didn't get to have it because unfortunately the champions, they did their job, but you know, they lost them. Now we're gonna look at another flawed character, and that is Zelda. And that's what I love about this Zelda so much, is that she has conflict between the characters. She doubts herself, and she works directly with Link. Like, does she, like, get a little rude and snippy with Link? Absolutely, because she has so much put on her. Things she doesn't even want put on her. She doesn't want to be like this warrior goddess. She loves research. She loves learning things. She loves finding out how to do different things, and she doesn't feel that she can measure up to like the Hylia powers. And Link represents all of her weaknesses because he was assigned to her specifically to protect her. So she's like, so this guy is just here because you don't think I can do it? It's kind of like when you have like if you're working on a project and we're like, okay, Amanda, we're gonna get you this backup character, like if I was playing a role like anytime I've been cast in a show, and then all of a sudden halfway through, Amanda, we're gonna get you an understudy. I'm like, what, you think I can't do the show? Is this what you're saying? And so that's, you know, you get that built up resentment, and it might just be, it may have nothing to do with it whatsoever. It might just be, hey, we know you might have some health issues, so we're gonna have a backup just in case. Nothing personal. And it's, you know, Zelda, like, you're the princess. Yes, you need to have your secret service, essentially. And she needed Link, but she did not want to admit it because that would admit her own personal weaknesses. And then, of course, you know, there's the whole full-on shipping wars between Mifa and Link and Zelda and all that, which is a lot of fun. Oh, hush, Peyton. And then we've got the friends all over Hyrule.
Yes.
Pyrrha and Paya, I said called Pyra.
Pyra.
Wrong game. Pyrrha, Paya, Robbie, and Cass. I love Robbie. Robbie's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm so happy we got to see more of like them in Age of Calamity, like Robbie and Pyrrha. Like, I'm really happy.
Me too. It was so great getting to learn more about them. But, you know, Cass acts as kind of the Greek chorus in this game. He's the one that kind of tells you the background, kind of gives you an idea as to where to go. So you learn, he's the closest thing, aside from the Sheikah Slate itself, he's the closest thing Link has to, like, a companion, because you find him throughout Hyrule,
and he kind of gives Link some advice through song.
Yeah, he fulfills that K-Pora
Yeah.
character in this.
Without making you repeat everything, or
Yeah.
without repeating everything.
Unless you talk to him again by accident like I did 20,000 times.
Yeah, no, I've done that too.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
No.
Cool thing about Cass is like when you hear the music and you know he's here, you're like, oh, Cass is here. Okay, this is gonna give me an idea as to where to go. And that's really neat. And then, you've got Paya, who ages down, and Pura, and I like getting to read their diaries, because that's where you really get to learn more about the characters, and that's where you get to learn more about Link, because by learning about the characters, you learn about him, because that's the people he hung out with. So who of these four do you guys like the best?
Cass, I'm a musician.
Cass.
So like,
Yeah, who likes Cass the best?
can't play the accordion, but like, A+.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Cass, definitely.
Yeah, it's a
Like-
cute
like-
side quest.
Pura.
Yeah.
Pura, 100%.
I love Robbie. He and Paya have just the ultimate friendship. Like, their friendship is just so precious. I love it so much.
I thought Paya was Impa's granddaughter.
She
Yeah,
is.
You mean Pura?
No, I thought.
No, Pura
Pura's
is
the
the-
girl.
The chicken,
Yeah.
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 The scientist. Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah,
What did I
Paya
say?
is.
I said
'cause she has
Paya?
the-
Oh, okay.
She has
Yeah.
the birthmark.
Oh, I meant to say Pura. I'm sorry. I said the
In
wrong
an
word.
undisclosed location.
Yeah. I said the wrong name. I apologize.
Very thirsty game.
It is. It's another very thirsty
Very,
game.
very thirsty game.
Ocarina of Time was a turning point in multiple ways. That's when all the characters became thirsty for Link, and then just brought it even way higher once we got to Breath of the Wild. All right, we have time, because we have 4 minutes remaining, so we have time for one final trivia question.
Yeah.
Shall I show them what they're competing for?
You sure can.
So cool.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah! Oh, no. I wanted the cardboard so bad. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. All right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
the question is,
Weed?
in Breath of the Wild, what is the name of Riju's sand seal?
Oh, got this
You
guy
got
right down
there.
center.
Middle, yeah.
All right. Ooh, sorry. Thank you.
Patricia.
Patricia, yay!
Patricia is correct. Would you like to come on down? Oh, thank you.
I think we've timed this perfectly. It's 1:27.
Yeah, we should be good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Patricia!
Yeah,
I love the little bow. It's so cute. It's such a nice detail.
I know,
Just
I
with
just love
everything else.
Patricia. Sweet Patricia. I just love her so much. She's so great.
makes
I like that it's just Riju's main weapon in Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
It's just riding
Yeah.
a seal and just mowing over enemies.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what is next for Breath of the Wild 2? What do we think is going to happen in the next one?
We're going back to the sky, and as a Skyward Sword fan, I'm very excited.
Me too. And I got to know what's happening with Zelda and why she cut her hair. She didn't cut her bangs, so I'm thinking there was no nasty breakup. But, she had to have had something.
I just want to see more Fee.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty interesting. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes.
We have like 2 minutes